Millennials seem to be getting a bad rep. We're told we're lazy, we're over emotional, and we are glued to our technology, that we can't continue moving forward with our lives. Why is it that the world thinks that we should add a step between adolescence and adults? Maybe it's not a psychological issue, but a societal one. In 1975, most of our parents were going to school, getting a job, and driving a new car. However, in our day and age, the same things that they were able to do are no longer available for us. They believe that we are lazy and that we are not moving forward. So why is it that we are not moving forward? Take a couple who wants to buy a home, get an education, buy a car, and start a family. How do you think they're going to do this? So of course they're going to start first with their education. That's very important. Most jobs now need a 4-year degree as opposed to in 1975 didn't as much. But education has become one of the most expensive things that you're ever going to buy. In 1970s, an education would cost you roughly $1,819 or about $8,000 in 2016 money. Now we're lucky if we pay $18,000. That's 126% more than when your parents went to school. So that means we have to take out loans. A lot of loans are on average about $25,000 when you leave school. That only includes 4-year college and not anything like Ivy League, Harvard, or any private colleges you may want to go to. But how are you going to get there? You want to buy a car. Cars now are so expensive that most of them you want to lease because you can't afford a down payment nor the payments for 3 years. This car, a fully loaded Camaro, was $6,000 in 1970. However, now, $60,000, a dream we may never reach. Now, homes have become one of the highest things on this list, actually. In 1970, this one home on the left would have been about $48,000 or $209,000. In 2015, average starting is $270,000, and that's only for mostly a 1-bedroom, smaller, with no land. Home inflation has gone through the roof. Miami also, and other places, suffered an inflation bubble drop in the 2000s where it went so high because people were giving out loans to anyone that the housing market crashed, and now it's going back up again. So how do we keep ourselves from getting into a situation like that? We rent. But rent has become a little bit overpriced as well. On average, of the American salary, it's $38,000. Now, you are recommended to spend only about 30% of that salary on your rent. That's $962. Average is $1,600. So rent has gone up drastically over the last few years. 2014, it was $1,200. 2015, it was $19. And now in 2016, the average is almost $2,200. This is where we live. Miami is probably one of the worst places to actually rent. We have an average income of $46,000, which doesn't seem bad, but in order to live comfortably in Miami, you do need to make $77,000. Average rent here is $2,025, but you should be spending $1,150. But there's more that you need to work on. You also need to buy food. Food has also gone up in price. However, we live in the port of Miami, so luckily we have a little bit of a leeway. But $20 in 1970s would go much larger than it does now. And you need or want kids. Kids cost probably the most out of everything for their 18 years. In average, one child will cost you $390,000 as opposed to in 2000 that it was $160,000. It went up 40%. So we rather travel. Most of us now are deciding to take our time having a family and having a house and travel the world in order to see the rest of life. So this is why most millennials have decided to take their time. We can't afford it. It's not that we do not want to move forward in life, that we do not want a family or want a home. We're limited by our options and opportunities that baby boomers had.